A ran from her, panicked. Ahead was a stand of bobbing colored balloons. A man with a handlebar mustache handed her one for $1. He also gave her a long, sharp pin, telling her, "If you pop the balloon, you win a prize." She popped it. "What is my prize?" The man laughed. "This," he said, and handed her the limp shred of red balloon. She put it in her pocket. Maybe the rides up ahead would make more sense. She pushed her way through the crowd to the midway, toward the first ride, a lurching tilt-a-wheel. The moon and the yew tree. A giant tree stood before her, towering almost as high as the Ferris wheel. Cars shaped like crescent moons swung out from its branches as it rotated, raising screaming children into the air. A worried they would fall out, felt tears well up in her eyes. She decided to save her ticket for something else. She walked down the path to a sign that said Games of Chance. "Spin the wheel of chance," said the carnival barker. She stopped before it. It was red and black and divided into different sections. One read, "Nurse comes home early." Next to it was, "Neighbor smells gas." Another read, "Wind-stuffed animal." The barker, I guess that's kind of a discrepancy, right? The barker spun it. It whirled and whirled in a blur, but never stopped on anything. The pointer never settled. It is so odd, A thought, and decided not to play. She walked away as the barker called after her, taunting, "What are you so afraid of?" shaking his fist. Bump a car. This was an electrified platform on which small, realistic-looking automobiles whizzed, careening wildly. It was surrounded by a deep lake. The goal was to not let your car be bumped off the platform into the lake. As A watched, she saw that some of the drivers thought the goal was to drive your car directly into the lake because there were wrecked, half-submerged autos in the water with people clinging to their sides. They never called out for help, and there was no one on the shore to pull them out. The zoo. "This way to the wild creatures exhibit," the arrow ahead pointed. Several iron cages with tall bars stood in a row. The first one had a crudely lettered note on it. "Please don't feed the tulips." A bouquet of vicious tulips snapped their red jaws at her, rattling and lunging their long stems between the bars as she gazed at them. Even though they looked safely caged, she stepped back. She felt their petals enveloping her throat, throttling her. A gasped and hurried on. The next cage was no better, a cluster of growling, vivid poppies, whose black tooth-like pistils gnashed together, leaning forward to slurp at her. She ran around the corner to the next exhibit. As she got closer, she heard a loud buzzing and saw the sign, "Hall of Bees." A giant beehive with no fence or netting around it to protect viewers swarmed before her. Something sticky and molten fell from the canopy above her, dripping down onto her face and her sleeve. It was honey. She tried to wipe it off, but it was too late. The bees buzzed toward her in an angry swarm. She backed away, swirling at them in terror, but it was no use. Then a beekeeper in a white suit, high gloves, and a shrouded helmet with a netted mask drew them away from her, saying, "Beware the queen." They followed behind him, a humming, wavering procession. The Funhouse Mirrors. A entered the hall of mirrors in the funhouse. They were all different sizes and shapes. The first one was long, and she saw herself elongated, stretched thin as taffy. In the next, a round mirror, she saw herself squat and stunted. Who would love her if she really looked like that? She wouldn't look English enough. The diamond-shaped mirror that was next made her look much younger, first showing her as a child in Tel Aviv, playing on the beach, then as a teenager dancing with the handsome British soldiers. She walked to the last mirror and saw herself aged, her hair grown gray. Then the image vanished, and the mirror's center filled with a silver-scaled fish, expanding till it was no longer a fish but the surface of a great lake. But strangely, A didn't drown. She was now on the shore of the lake. There were paddle boats on it, and she saw a tall man in one, with the blonde woman. They looked familiar. Though both were paddling, the blonde woman was sinking lower in the boat, but he was not. He kept paddling, not even turning his head. Horrified by this, Ace shouted for a lifeguard, but there was none. She needed to get away from here. She needed an explanation. She followed a sign to the fortune-telling tent. She entered a canvas tent on the edge of the fairgrounds. Ace sat in the folding chair next to a table. The table held a flickering candle, an incense cone, and a small amethyst crystal ball. A hissing sound came from the tent's shadowed corners. The reader was a tall gypsy woman with a British accent and big hands. She wore a spangled velvet scarf and a long tiered skirt. "And what is your name, dear?" Abe couldn't remember. Was it Sylvia? "Sylvia, I think," she said. Yes, it must be, because she remembered sleeping in her bed. "Funny, you don't look like one. But cut the cards, dear," the woman said, handing her the deck and leaning back. Ace shuffled the cards, then split them into piles. They felt sharp as she did so, and when she was done, she had tiny red slits from paper cuts on her thumbs. "Here's your fortune," said the woman, laying down the cards. She turned them over and fell silent. "Fixed stars govern your life," she said. "These cards represent your past. I see you made a journey here from another land, perhaps to escape evil." "Yes, I'm originally from Germany," Ace said. "Then I emigrated to Palestine to escape the war." The tarot reader turned over the cards. The Eight of Swords, the Devil. "I see you were involved with a poet." "No, wait." She turned over 2 more cards. 3 poets. "Well, my husband is one." It was amazing how accurate this reader was. The cards on the table were the King of Cups reversed, the Queen of Cups. Or did the cards say the Cuck Queen? "Now for your future cards," said the woman. "I see a couple entering your life. I see a woman." The tower struck by lightning with bodies falling from it. She recognized that one, the Queen of Swords. But the fortune-teller now turned over many more cards, one she had never seen before. The Queen of Ovens, the 2 of Orphans, the Priestess of Pills, the Tower of Electroshocks, the Wheel of Misfortune, the King of Infidelity, the 6 of Slash Wrists, the Cups of Pills, the Page of Poetry, the Hierophant Psychiatrist, the 9 of Overdoses, the Hanged Other Woman, Bad Judgment, the 10 of Bees, the Lunatic Hospital. And I'll stop there.
Yeah.